The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Good afternoon and welcome for another edition of Table Topics. We are back another week and with me, John. How you doing, buddy?
Good, good.
Staying there. I see you still have your winter.
Hey,
winter shirts.
I'm still cold.
My winter shirts. It's already in the closet. I'm hoping for this.
My summer stuff will be made. It doesn't get warm here till May. Come on, let's face it.
And you know what's funny today is inside the car. It's warm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. In the car, it's warm,
you open the door or you open the window. It's like, oh my God. It's
so that's why I still wear summer. Yeah. You know what I mean? You got to wear winter stuff until you know it's spring. But come on, Carlos.
The weather around here is just like politics.
Yeah.
Around the world.
Exactly.
In the morning it's raining, at night it's sunny.
Yeah, exactly. I hear you.
So, John, I know you have a video clip for us to watch, and I think it's something that you thought it was funny.
I thought it was something that's going to make everybody.
It's always fun when the politics get together. Believe me.
No, it is, and I think.
And then they say things, and they say, "Oh, I should, maybe use a different word."
Yeah. Well, there's no apology coming from this camp. You know, this lady's not apologizing at all, so it's kind of interesting, you know.
Yeah.
So I guess we can play it now and just get
Michelle,
it over, right?
if you can play the video.
It's over 100 days. We have connected unhoused residents at Massancast to housing, treatment, and services. We've launched 3 free bus lines. We've taken some big, bold actions, but I won't lie, this past winter was pretty intense. Trial by snow, trial by fire, fighters union. I'm getting used to dealing with problems that are expensive, disruptive, and white. I'm talking about snowflakes. I mean snowstorm snowflakes.
So it was a little funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, I came across that. I usually, Boston has a St. Patrick's Day parade, and they used to have a roast where a lot of, the local politicians and senators, congressmen would go, and they would just kind of goof around with each other. Unfortunately, the mayor kind of went a little overboard here, and I guess she's having issues with the fire department, which, most cities have issues with their unions at times. But I just think what she said was, we've heard over the last 2 years we need to reunite everybody, bring everybody together, and it's been very divisive. And the same people that were saying it was divisive for years, they're continuing that, divisiveness. So it's just kind of comical when you kind of hear that, when you see these things. And if you notice, some of the people in the audience were booing. And she still went on. So I guess it really didn't. I guess she didn't take it into consideration. But
well, she's lucky that she's white. So you know.
Well, the funny part, I have to give this. The city of Boston, when she came in, they really implemented hard on the whole vaccine thing. So they had to have, passports to get into restaurants, and they were forcing the fire department and the police department to get vaccinated. And the people were not happy with that. So they were showing up at her house and protesting. And they weren't, she wasn't happy with that. I get it. It's not a pleasant thing, but, those are your constituents, and they're speaking to you, so you have to take that in consideration. Instead, she just really dug her heels in and would not consider anything else. So that's been a big problem for her. So to give her some credence, I know she's had those issues, but you know what? When you run for the mayor, you run to be mayor of one of the biggest cities in the U.S. You got to earn your money.
Did you have heard anything? How she's doing? How the people are really happy with her?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, from what I've seen of her, I don't. I mean, that's just my own opinion. I think she could handle things better. She did actually. She's good. She's big with social media. So she, I guess, had on a live, not Facebook, but there's another live thing.
Broadcast,
Yeah, on Twitter or
something.
whatever. And she was getting all these bad comments on there, so much that they had to take it off the air.
Oh, really?
You know, that she's, this vaccine Nazi and all these other things
Oh,
they're
yeah,
saying in
yeah.
the chat. So when you're an elected official and you have something going on there and all this is scrolling by you, it's never a good look. So they took it down. So I know that people are not happy, in that instance of what's going on with the whole vaccine portion of it. And yeah, I mean, there's some things.
Well, for her to win Boston, it's a lot of votes.
Yeah.
Because it's a big city.
Yeah, it's a big city. Yep.
It's a big city. So
Yeah.
you have to have, for you to get in, you have to have a good majority of
And
agreement.
And she did. I think there were a few people. I mean, it was going to be.
You have opposition anyway.
yeah, it
You're
is-
always going to have opposition.
Yeah, it was going to be a record-breaking election because I think all the people that were running were women.
Yeah.
So it was going to be the first woman elected. So that was a big thing up there.
Well, the thing is, people always give a chance.
Yeah.
It's how the person perform.
Yeah.
That's how they get reelected.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
by performance.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
the first time that you got elected, you have a lot of votes there. It's giving you a chance.
Yeah.
To see how you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Now, with the time, you do good.
Yeah.
So you will have no problem getting reelected again.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what happens. A lot of these people that win for the first time.
Yeah, and you're right. It's a lot of support. I don't know if she was a city councilman at one time. She may have been on the Boston City Council. I'm not sure, but I know people are not happy with her stance on the whole vaccine portion of that. And I believe there was a woman that was pregnant. I think that was a firefighter, and she was really upset about it. And she had spoke with the mayor, with the union, and they were just like, sorry, you know what I mean? And to me, that's not right. When someone's pregnant, you know what I mean, you got to have some exemptions to that, you know what I mean? Because now you're not just affecting that woman's life, you're affecting her child, So and there's not enough studies out there to say that we don't know what happens if someone's pregnant, gets the vaccine, what will happen in 10 years. We don't know. That's not right. And she was not compassionate at all from what I remember. It was just like, no, you're going to do it, So.
One thing that I would like to talk to you about too is the schools and what's going on in schools right now. It's a shame because the kids are running out of control.
Yeah.
And at schools, they pretty much it's like a gang on the street. It's like a gang on the street. If the cops don't get a handle of it, they dominate the streets. They do whatever they want because guess what? I belong to a gang and the police cannot touch me.
Yeah.
Okay? Or I'm going to fight anything that the police say or have against me.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's going on in schools now with all these kids because what's going on when a kid kills himself to the point that a kid goes to the extreme of killing himself, it's a lot of things going wrong.
Yeah,
it's not one thing going wrong. It's a lot of things going wrong.
Yeah, I know there was, you're probably alluding to an incident that happened in one of the middle schools. Yeah. For me, everybody that's gone to school has been bullied at some time or another.
Oh,
This goes back to probably the 14, before Christ, for God's sake.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
yes.
So that does happen. However, I remember when I went to Durfee, if something happened on school property, usually the people got suspended. You know what I mean? Because I guess there's something there that you should, you're doing this when people are in charge there. So it was like if it happened off school grounds, it was like whatever. But if something happened on school property, people got suspended. Now, but you were going to the dinosaur age when I was at Durfee back in '78. Back then, it was a different outlook. You know what I mean? If I were to go home and tell something to my parent that I got suspended, I'd get hit as well as being suspended. So where now that's not how the case is. So I know the schools try to keep like an in-school suspension, but this has happened at every school, Carlos, but I agree. I think that we need to get a little bit better with the whole discipline portion of what's going on in the schools.
And put rules and rules and consequences.
Yep.
Everybody, you an adult,
Yeah.
and you still have consequences if you do something wrong.
Exactly.
You know, I'm 55. If I do something wrong, sure, I'm going to have to suffer the consequences. That's life. That's how it is.
Yeah.
So, you know that Rhode Island schools has been around here one of the best educations fields. It's the Rhode Island schools.
Yeah.
They were so famous that we have clients. You know, I have clients for 20 years that moved from New York for the kids to be in Rhode Island schools.
But it's certain schools in Rhode Island, school districts.
Yes, but
right?
and you know, probably one it's bad, but
Yeah.
the majority of school department in Rhode Island have a good reputation.
Yeah.
Okay, and a good graduation number two. But I had people that moved from Tennessee to put their kids through Rhode Island school. New York,
Yeah.
I have clients. I had clients. And now that the kids are out of the house, one of my clients gonna move again, back to Florida. She came from Florida. She put the kids through school, and now she's moving back to Florida again.
Yeah.
And she's a teacher herself.
Yeah.
She's a teacher.
Yeah.
And she was telling me yesterday that she's gonna retire 6 years earlier.
Yeah.
Because she said, Carlos, you know, I cannot handle.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the school. It's not behind you. The school. It's not on your sides.
Yeah.
You could get right because you're trying to take a phone from a kid that is not even supposed to have a phone in class.
Yeah.
Never mind just being taxed in class. Okay, so and the school is not backing you up. You know, so a lot of us we feel like fish out of water. We have nobody to defend us. You know, so yes, I'm going to retire. I'm going to get out of the field. I'm going to retire 6 years 6 years before. I don't care how much I'm going to make. Okay, you know, but I have to get out because, you know, this is killing me. I'm not happy. One of the jobs that I dedicated all my life, I love to teach. I used to love kids and love teaching and everything. And I'm out. I'm you know, by June, that's it. I'm out of here. She already put the house for sale, and she's going. So. That's to tell you that doesn't matter where it is. The problem, it's all over.
Yeah, it is.
The problem, it's all over.
It is, and I think part of that is that, you know, in the old, you know, back in the 70s. I'm not saying everything was great back in the 70s, but if you had, you know, a kid that was, you know, into mischief or got into trouble, that person was taken out of the classroom. You know what I mean? Where now you have so many different behaviors in a classroom that I don't know how the kids that don't have behaviors are actually learning. You know, so it takes away from them. So, you know, the pendulum has swung so far this way that everything's got to be inclusive. We got to have everybody in the same class together. But what does that do? That affects the kids that really want to learn, that are there. They're not being disruptive, but the class is getting disrupted because they're acting out.
And I don't blame the kids. I blame the parents.
Yeah.
Because it's a perfect example. Okay, you put a phone away. No, my mother said that I can use the phone in the class.
Well, I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's the kid's fault.
So the mother,
kid's fault too, Carlos.
But the mother, but if the kid is not supposed, if my kid is not supposed to have the phone in class, and I have a complaint from the teacher, from the school, that she was behaving and she was using the phone, my next thing is tomorrow you're not bringing the phone to the school. My behavior, it's not calling the school department and complaining about the teacher.
I know,
you know what I'm saying?
But we're in different times. You know what I mean? That's how things
but
are.
How different it is that the kids are not graduating.
Yeah.
So it's a problem somewhere.
Yeah. It is. And I mean, this all what I look at is that what are these kids going to do when they become employed? Because you can't just like get mad and say go sit over there for 10 minutes. That's not how the real world works. You know what I mean? We're competing with China. We're competing with Russia. We're competing with other Asian countries, African countries. So we got to be the best. That's why we're like a superpower.
But how are you going to be the best if you don't have the kids learning?
Yeah, exactly.
How are you going to compete? How are you going to be the best?
Well,
and to me, it's like I'm ruining. If I'm going to do this to my daughter, allow my daughter to use the phone and to break the rules, I'm participating for her not succeeding in life. I'm participating my daughter to be a loser in life. That I'm not going to be around forever to call the teacher and talk about my daughter.
Yeah. No.
That's the part that I don't understand is the parents, instead of being on the sides and say, for you to learn, you need to be out of your phone. If you need to learn and graduate and read as you need to read, not like some numbers that came out, high school graduate 65% in some state. They read like 5th graders. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah. 65% of high school graduating, they read like a 5th grader. So why we are passing these kids? Because the parents gonna get mad, gonna get upset. Okay, the teacher not passing them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have that problem, Carlos. When you had your kids, did you not read to them?
Yes, and I was part of them.
But that's what I'm trying to say. A lot of parents don't read to their children. They come to school. That's why they want this whole.
That's why I blame the parents.
But you're right. But I mean, that's why they want they want preschool, because a lot of parents don't tell. My kid knew, like yours, I'm sure, their ABCs. I read to her every night. My wife read to her. That's how. You know what I mean? They get the basics to start kindergarten. I didn't even go to kindergarten when I was a kid. I went right to 1st grade. I never went to kindergarten, but I was okay because I had people that were showing me stuff.
Well, I remember when I went to my 1st grade. Yeah. I already knew to do my letters and my numbers and everything.
Exactly.
And I remember, like today, my great-grandmother sitting on the doorstep with me, with books, and teaching me. Yeah. And I was like 4 or 5 years old. Exactly. And I was already putting numbers down and doing math. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So when I went to my 1st grade, I already knew. Yeah. I already knew. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't see this today.
Look at society, though. Look at society. Are you surprised? I mean, really, are we surprised? You know what I mean?
I just think that with all this, we have the right to do, we have the right to say, we have the right to make. It's making the kids so confused.
No, you're right.
The kids are so confused. They're not ready for life. Yeah. They're not ready for life. They have. That's why they have a lot of problems. That's why they have a lot of doctors. They have. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because of that, they are 14-year-olds with the mentality of a 6-year-old.
Yeah, I know.
You know, I mean,
I agree.
we're in trouble.
Yeah, no, I agree.
To go back to that point that you say that we need to compete.
Yeah, we're going to be in trouble.
We are in trouble.
Yeah, no, we are. We're not only in trouble on that front, my friend. We're in trouble that we don't make anything in this country anymore, right? And we were discussing, I think, at a prior show, Russia is now trading with China, and they're using the Chinese yuan. We have the world reserve currency. Everybody's supposed to trade the petrodollar with the U.S. dollar. They're no longer doing that between China and Russia. And I heard India was trading between Russia and India between their money, the rupee and the ruble. Saudi Arabia wants to do that. Saudi Arabia is a big oil country like Russia. So what if all this, it doesn't happen all at once, but in 5 years from now, what if they all go, we don't need the U.S. dollar? Again, it's supply and demand. We'll be, our dollar will probably be worth the Zimbabwe dollar, which is now they're using other currencies because their dollar is worth nothing. You know?
Well, remember, the example that we are on our way there is how much the dollar is worth it for us inside the country.
Yeah.
Let's forget about the world.
Yeah.
Let's
just
forget
the world.
all the other countries.
Exactly.
Let's talk about how much is the dollar worth it for us. What used to be worth it a lot.
Yeah.
And we keep losing and losing. We are not noticing yet because it's the dollar. Yeah. And we have this mentality, it's dollar. We make dollars.
Yeah.
Okay? but we've been losing inside our country.
Yeah. And I hope people figure that out. So I'll give you an example, right? You know, because prices go up slowly, but they've been going up quicker. So I went and got bacon, like probably 2 weeks ago. And bacon was on sale. I had a coupon. It was $10. Would have normally been like $13. For a pound of bacon, $13. You know what I mean? That, to me, that's amazing. You know what I mean? That's like, and now I've noticed just on food, it would be, I'd spend probably maybe $100 a week, and now it's up to $150. You know what I mean? Just within the last year. And I don't.
And we're lucky
home.
that we find the stuff.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
another thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we pay top dollar, and we're lucky that we still can go and get it.
Yeah. I mean, look at the local stores here. There's some stores that you go in, and I'm actually shocked. I mean, the store that I go to, they don't have a lot, but they make it look pretty. So it's like everything's in front.
It's the front.
And if you pull something out, it's like
empty on the
there's
back.
nothing there.
Yes, exactly.
So they just do a better job at like merchandising or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, it's gonna be an issue, and you know what? It'll probably wake up. We'll probably wake up one day, and everybody's gonna have to feel like what it was during the Great Depression, where if you didn't do what you're supposed to do, there's nobody there to give you anything. And that's probably what's going to happen.
And the country is going to have to come to a point that's what we've been telling our politics, local politics, that we need to know the real numbers in our city.
Yeah.
It's going to come to a point that the country is going to need to know the numbers.
Yeah. And
because this number is not, it's not matching.
Yeah, and that's even with the COVID thing. You know what I mean? We had people, once this thing was over, we had people that we were paying to stay home and collect unemployment, right? That money's got to come somewhere. You know what I mean? And along with everything else, the Congress or the Senate just approved a bill to go to the Ukraine for $81 billion. Where does that money come from? We're in debt, $30 trillion. Where is that money coming from? You know, so, and as interest rates are starting to go up now on mortgages, right? That means our interest rate goes up on what we're paying in debt. So it's...
And it's been quiet. We have 1 more month to go before it's a deadline for income taxes. So whoever's been filling up the income taxes is people that are getting returns.
Yeah.
We're going to start hearing those that had to pay in, that they used to pay in 1,000, they're going to pay in 2,000 now.
Yeah.
Okay? Because and that's going to happen.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny because like...
And that's the money, those checks that you got in the mail, we don't give free money to nobody.
Well, this is the funny part, right? So there was, I know, you know what I mean, and I'm not going by whatever politician, but I remember when Mitt Romney was running against, you know, President Obama, he had said something, I caught him on tape, and he said, you know, only 50% of the people in this country are actually paying taxes. And he meant income tax. He said income tax. And everybody's like, what do you mean? Oh my God. It's true. You know what I mean? So somebody, like you said, somebody that got $7,000 or $8,000 back in taxes, they didn't put that much tax in. Because if they're getting those tax things back, you're getting tax from the government. You didn't pay. Whatever you paid, you're getting back plus 8,000 more.
Yes.
You know, so it's like, so it's true. There are people that are not paying income tax. I'm not saying they're not paying sales tax or whatever. They're not paying income tax where other people are. And then they're getting, you know what I mean? I would hear, you know, oh, I'm getting my $7,000 back. And it's like, well, let me look at your earning, you know, your W-2. It's like,
you did $2,000 discount.
Yeah, you pay $2,000. You're getting $8,000 back. You're getting $6,000 of somebody else's money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people don't.
Somebody that actually worked.
Yeah. So, and they may, you know, they probably worked, but they didn't put all that in. But you're right. What's happened is people don't realize that they're getting this earned income credit. They've been getting this $200 or $300 for each kid, but they're going to end up in the end, they're not going to get that this time. They're going to either get nothing or, like you said, have to pay in. And I know how that is to pay in because I've done that a few times.
Yes. And
it's terrible to write a check to, you know, to Uncle Sam for $2,000 or $3,000 because you didn't have the right, you know, deduction every month. It's painful to write that.
Yes.
So
I mean, I even talked to CJ. I'm at the point that on my W-2s, I think I'm going to claim single zero, so I can have more money taken out of my check,
Yeah.
so I don't have to pay in the end of the month, or at least I don't have to pay as much at the end of the month. But one thing that I've been saying since those checks came in, those $600 checks that people collected, on one of my job, it's a lot of retired people. They can do up to 20 hours a week without losing their retirement or touching their retirement.
Yeah.
So what happened is they collect those $600 a week.
Oh.
So if they collect those $600 a week, that's like making a 40-hour week job.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
Okay? So what's going to happen now is when they file the income taxes, they're going to say, well, you worked 40 hours a week, not 20. Okay? So they're going to end up either getting that money all back again, or if they're nice to them, or if they're not nice to them, losing their retirement.
Yeah, they'll just put it on hold until they run that money through.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's, you know, some of this I do blame sometimes, you know what I mean, with people not explaining how this runs. Because I remember one year the tax rate went down, you know, with your deductions, but the tax rate stayed the same. And I knew with an accountant, they went, you better go back and put in that same deduction out, or you're going to end up owing at the end of the year.
And I don't know if you know that, but we're going to end up paying twice, because those first bonus checks came, the $1,200 or the $1,400, was for people, to help people pay for their rent.
Yeah.
They pocket the money. They never paid the rent. Okay? But now, if you didn't pay your rent, you can go and get help.
Yes.
Well, you're not going to get help because we already give you money.
No, it doesn't matter. They still can get help. They can still get
You know
help.
what I'm saying? So they're going to get paid twice.
Yeah. Well, that's the system we're in. We're in the nanny state.
When the system should say it's, give me your landlord number, and we're going to direct the money to your landlord so you have your rent paid.
This is the problem, though, that some of these people won't fill the paperwork out because they're like, why should I fill the paperwork out, right? I'm still here. So that's been the issue I've seen in some of these courts, where if the person won't fill it out, excuse me, then that's it. You know what I mean? That you don't go anywhere. So the landlord ends up holding the bag, you know?
Well, I know one thing. A lot of these landlords lost their houses because they could not afford to pay.
Yeah.
Because if you have a tenement, you need to collect those rents to pay those low payment rents to pay the mortgage. Okay, and so now the guys come from outside, buy the houses, and the rents go double the price.
No, I hear you, and it is getting to be unaffordable here. It is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With the money that people make in this area, and rents are $1,500, $1,600 a month, it's not doable. It's not working. So anyway,
Thanks to the train. That's another big conversation for another day. Welcome, train. Everybody wants the train. So guess what? I hope you have the train to go to Boston to work, but you don't have a place to live. So
that's it.
with that done, it's another half an hour. Thank you. We will come back next week for another table topic.
Sounds good.